So I was in the cafeteria at Kirsten Medical Center last week, and when I ordered my food at the grill, there was a lady standing right next to me that immediately turned and said, "What do you do here?" Which for all of us that are in hospital administration, sometimes we wonder, that can go a lot of different directions. And so I introduced myself with the president of the facility, and she started to tell me about the care that her son is receiving in our ICU at Kernersville. They've been there for 10 days already. He has a long road for recovery, but ultimately she shared with me just how she was initially really anxious about her son being treated at our facility because she considered us small, community, and rural. And those were the words that she used. And I asked her about what did we do, though, over the course of the past 10 days to give you confidence in this treatment that your son is getting with us, because I would want all families to receive that. And she talked about two things. She talked about how the physician, Dr. Feinstein, would go into the room, sit down, talk to the parents, would, as much as he could, go over to the bedside and kind of lean on the bed rails and talk to their son, even though he was on a vent, and just participating in all the care that was in the room. And then when she would need to leave the room, because she just needed some fresh air, or some food, or something just to kind of just take a moment for herself, she had comfort in leaving the room, because whenever she did, she would look out as she walked out of the room, and all of the nurses, respiratory therapists, pharmacists, our physicians were all huddled at the nursing station talking about the patients and talking about how they're going to take care of them, so that they were all on the same page. And that teamwork gave her comfort that she could leave and her son was in great hands. So I think about that related to our campus planning, because we only have 4 ICU rooms. Since the time that Dr. Feinstein came in July, those 4 rooms have been full. So we have no more room to take any more families like hers and treat them. But if we added 4 more rooms to create an 8-bed unit, then we could see another 300 patients a year. We could net about $4 million in revenue. So certainly would be a good proposition to do. But really we need to think bigger about that. And I want to talk about 3 things: capacity, growth, and experience. When I think about capacity, by the end of 2020, Kernersville will be at 90% bed utilization. So we're going to get to a place where we won't be able to serve as many families because of our beds being utilized that high. The other thing I think about is on the growth side. So we're investing around $20 million into our submarket with new clinics, medical office buildings, land purchases. And so if we don't keep up with that within the medical center, then we're really going to struggle to not outpace that growth. And so that's important. We're also in a highly competitive market. So there's at least 2 other large health systems that are competing heavily for our patients. And so how we stay ahead and have a growth strategy that not only is aggressive, but targeted. And so that's also part of this. We also know that for experience, when our facilities within our health system get bigger, that from an ER perspective, surgeries that may get canceled, delayed, experience suffers. So how do we stay ahead of that at Kernersville is very important. So over the course of through the rest of this year, we're putting a plan together that will allow us to really think about what do we need to look like? What services does our community deserve and need? So are there other surgical subspecialties? Should we be birthing babies? All of those things are part of our planning for the end of the year. To then spend 2020 talking about getting the approval that we need, really getting the resources and the funding to be able to start that process in 2021. The way I think about it is that we all, if you've watched the movie Field of Dreams and they talk about build it and they will come, that has really been the history of Kernersville Medical Center for the past 8 years. That we did build it, and they certainly came. But our next level of planning for Kernersville has everything to do with build it so they can come. Because at some point, we're going to, from a growth perspective, outpace our capacity and infrastructure. And we want those moms that have sons in our ICU, as many of them that want to come, to be able to have the care that we provide at Kernersville Medical Center.